This situation is indeed dire, and the consequences of inaction are unimaginable.
I think there was an element of finding your own way, but if you asked, you could certainly get help. There's nothing wrong in that. But the reason I'm smiling is that it always makes me laugh when you read in the newspapers or you hear on the web that, of course, there will have been, people would have been prepared for this.
Queen Camilla has reportedly been kicked out of the royal family, and it all comes down to Princess Anne's shocking revelation that no one saw coming. Known for her ability to cut through the noise, Anne has exposed something so explosive that it's turned the monarchy upside down. What secret did Anne uncover, and how did it lead to Camilla's downfall? The courtesy controversy. In the British royal family, courtesy isn't just about good manners, it's a symbol of submission and respect for the monarchy's hierarchy. Tradition dictates that women in the royal family perform acts of homage, usually a formal bow, when greeting and bidding farewell to those who outrank them. With the reigning monarch and queen consort at the top of this hierarchy, it's a long-standing custom that has been followed for centuries. But during a recent high-profile royal event, Princess Anne, known for her strong adherence to tradition and protocol, left onlookers stunned. As Queen Camilla approached, the expectation was clear. Anne, like others, would perform the traditional bow to the queen consort. Instead, Anne gave a polite nod and moved on. For those unfamiliar with royal customs, Anne's simple nod might have seemed insignificant. But royal watchers knew better. In a family where every gesture carries weight, this small act spoke volumes. Some saw it as a subtle statement from Anne, a royal stalwart who has spent decades upholding traditions. Was this her way of pushing back against Camilla's role as queen consort? This wasn't just a break in protocol, it was Anne. Known for her no-nonsense approach, Anne's gesture may reflect the evolving dynamics within the royal family. With Prince William and other younger royals advocating for modernization, could Anne be silently aligning herself with this shift, or was this a personal stance on Camilla's place in the family? Unsurprisingly, this moment has ignited debate. Some royal enthusiasts view Anne's nod as a respectful yet modernized adaptation of tradition, showing how the monarchy is evolving in the 21st century. Others see it as an intentional move to draw a line. What's clear is that even the smallest gestures in royal life carry massive implications. Some have interpreted Anne's action as more than a break in tradition, a deliberate move hinting at unresolved tension between the two royal figures. A significant point of contention appears to be Camilla's coronation arrangements, particularly the inclusion of her own family members in prominent roles. Reports suggest that Camilla's choices, perceived as sidelining traditional royal practices, did not sit well with Anne, whose dedication to the monarchy's legacy is steadfast. Insiders claim that Anne may have viewed these decisions as a breach of the royal code, especially considering her lifelong commitment to upholding protocol. Anne's refusal to perform the customary curtsy has become a talking point for royal commentators and fans alike. Royal expert Tom Bauer has even suggested that Anne's gesture could reflect deeper conflicts within the royal family. He noted that Anne likely wasn't alone in her discontent, hinting at broader dissatisfaction with Camilla's approach to her new role as queen consort. Adding fuel to the fire, Prince William is also rumored to have expressed frustration toward his stepmother-in-law's actions during King Charles's coronation. In a speech that many viewed as indirect criticism, William reportedly acknowledged the discomfort surrounding Camilla's role and its impact on family unity. Anne's gesture has sparked debate not only among royal watchers but also across social media. Some commenters see her nod as a quiet act of defiance, a way to express her disapproval without creating outright conflict. Others believe it's simply Anne being Anne, respectful but unwilling to compromise on principles she's upheld for decades. Whatever the reason, this seemingly small moment highlights the complex dynamics within the royal household. Is this a personal disagreement, a defense of tradition, or a reflection of deeper fractures within the family? Some have speculated that Princess Anne's decision to nod rather than curtsy to Queen Camilla may have been a simple misunderstanding, a lapse in protocol, or even just a moment of practicality. But in the world of royal watchers, nothing is ever just what it seems. The incident has sparked widespread discussion about the complex power dynamics and unwritten rules that govern the behavior of Britain's most famous family. For Anne, a figure known for her unshakable commitment to duty, the gesture or lack of one felt intentional. It also cast a spotlight on the relationships within the royal family, revealing how public duty, personal legacy, and family dynamics often clash behind the scenes. And when you add the weight of constant public scrutiny into the mix, even the smallest interactions take on outsized importance. The royal family has long been a global fascination, not just for their grand ceremonies and public appearances, but for the intricate relationships that shape their day-to-day lives. Princess Anne and Queen Camilla's dynamic is no exception. Their roles are not just ceremonial, they're deeply entwined with history, tradition, and a constant balancing act between personal feelings and public responsibility. Anne, often regarded as the hardest-working royal, has always been a staunch defender of tradition. Camilla's position as queen consort, though now official, was a journey filled with public skepticism and private challenges. These differing approaches to royal life are a reminder that even within the monarchy, relationships are rarely simple. Being a royal means living under a microscope. Every gesture, every word, every glance is dissected for meaning. And when it comes to senior royals like Anne and Camilla, this scrutiny amplifies any tension or disagreement, whether real or imagined. The media, ever hungry for a royal storyline, often turns minor moments into headline-worthy drama. What may have been a polite nod from Anne is now seen as a possible signal of disapproval. Anne and Camilla's relationship reflects the ongoing challenge of being a royal in the modern world. They must present a united front to symbolize stability for the nation while privately navigating complex family dynamics. Behind the polished facade, the tension between Camilla and Anne might just trace back to their shared history and complicated royal ties. The royal love triangles. If you've kept even a casual eye on the royal family drama, you probably know Camilla was no stranger to royal circles from an early age. Back in the swinging 60s, she was a London debutante, mingling with the city's elite. From posh polo matches to exclusive social events, Camilla crossed paths with the royals long before the spotlight was on her. And in 1970, thanks to Princess Anne, she met Charles. And well, you know how that story unfolds, but you see, Camilla and Anne haven't exactly had a smooth ride when it comes to their relationship. So what's really going on between them? Let's break it down. Meeting a future partner through mutual friends sounds like a win. Well, not always. Camilla Parker Bowles met King Charles III through none other than Princess Anne. Royal expert Penny Junor spilled the tea, revealing that Camilla and Charles crossed paths thanks to Anne's fling with Andrew Parker Bowles. And just like that, their little fling kicked off. So how did all these royal connections and Parker Bowles entanglements play out at first? Charles and Camilla met at a polo match in 1970. Camilla didn't hold back with the banter, cheekily saying, "My great-grandmother was the mistress of your great-great-grandfather. I feel we have something in common." Meanwhile, Anne was dating Andrew at the time, but things took a turn when Charles shipped out for his Royal Navy duties. By the time he returned, Camilla was engaged to Andrew, leaving both Charles and Anne in an awkward spot. So you see why Queen Camilla and Princess Anne's relationship has always been rough due to their awkward connection with Andrew Parker Bowles. According to royal biographer Sally Bedell Smith, Anne and Andrew had quite the romance in the 1970s. They were reportedly head over heels, but the royal family stepped in when things got serious. Why? Andrew was Catholic, and Anne, being a member of the Church of England, wasn't allowed to marry him. Their connection didn't completely fizzle out, but Andrew eventually met Camilla, and that's where things took a turn. Fast forward to July 4th, 1973. Andrew and Camilla tied the knot in a ceremony at the Guards Chapel, followed by a reception at St. James's Palace. The guest list was filled with royals, including the Queen Mother, Princess Margaret, and, yep, Princess Anne. Was Anne feeling a bit salty? No one can say for sure, but given the quick pivot from Anne to Camilla, it's hard not to wonder if some lingering tension was in the air. It doesn't come as a surprise that when Queen Camilla and King Charles III tied the knot in 2005, Princess Anne wasn't exactly thrilled. In fact, reports suggest Anne gave Camilla the cold shoulder, And she wasn't the only one. Plenty of royals weren't thrilled about the union, with Queen Elizabeth herself skipping the ceremony altogether. According to body language expert Judy James, the vibe at the post-wedding photos was anything but warm. She pointed out that Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip kept their distance on the steps, avoiding any cozy family shots. Anne, as expected, stayed true to form, looking as frosty as ever. But Anne's chilly reception wasn't exclusive to Camilla. She had a similar attitude toward Princess Diana, too. Anne apparently had no time for Diana and was annoyed by her constant media attention. Unlike Diana's more modern approach to royal life, Anne has always been about tradition and duty. So when it came to welcoming Camilla, her frosty stance was just Anne being Anne. Looking back at it now, it's safe to say that Anne may have actually paved the way for Camilla and King Charles to make their relationship official. You know, Anne broke royal norms in a big way by becoming the first royal to divorce her husband and then marry the man she had an affair with. Here's how it went down. While married to Mark Phillips, Anne had a relationship with Timothy Lawrence. After divorcing Phillips in 1992, Anne wasted no time and married Lawrence shortly after. Back then, this was a pretty shocking move for a royal family that clung to its morally upright image. But Anne's bold decision set a precedent that worked in Camilla's favor. Let's not forget, Camilla and Charles's relationship began while he was still married to Diana Spencer. After his divorce from Diana and the heartbreak of her tragic death, Charles and Camilla tied the knot. Without Anne's trailblazing move, it's hard to imagine Camilla's path to becoming queen consort being quite so smooth. So, despite their rocky history, Anne's actions indirectly gave Camilla the green light to follow her heart. Royal author Penny Junor revealed that Queen Camilla was very aware of Princess Anne's frosty attitude, and it left her feeling seriously intimidated for years after marrying King Charles. According to the news, Anne's chilly behavior was particularly nerve-wracking for Camilla because, let's face it, they had some unresolved history hanging over their heads. And what's more complicated than a royal love triangle? Penny explained that Anne needed time to adjust to having Camilla around. Anne and Andrew's relationship didn't go anywhere romantically, but they've always been very fond of each other, Junor shared. That connection hasn't exactly been easy for Camilla to overlook. Add to that Anne's famously blunt and tough personality, and it's no wonder Camilla felt uneasy around her for so long. The royal family has had its share of scandals, but here's a twist you might not have expected. Camilla Parker Bowles, now queen consort, reportedly got involved with King Charles to get back at her then-boyfriend, Andrew Parker Bowles. Yes, you heard that right. According to Penny Junor, it was a classic case of tit for tat. Andrew's wandering eye, especially toward Princess Anne, allegedly pushed Camilla to make her own bold move. And if it weren't for Andrew's infidelity, she might have never pursued Charles in the first place. Junor also shared the juicy details at the Henley Literary Festival, revealing that Camilla was head over heels for Andrew. But when she caught him cheating, with Anne and others, she didn't just sit back. She slashed his tires and even left a lipstick message on his car. Yep, that level of drama. Then came her next move, turning her attention to Charles. Junor explained, when she met Charles, she thought, Andrew's off with Anne, so let me show him a thing or two. And that fling? Well, it changed royal history forever. Despite all the drama surrounding Queen Camilla's role in the royal family, one thing hasn't changed. Princess Anne and Andrew Parker Bowles are still tight. In fact, Andrew is actually the godfather of Zara Phillips, Anne's daughter. And King Charles III is the godfather of Tom Parker Bowles, Andrew and Camilla's son. Let that sink in for a moment, because the web of royal connections just keeps getting messier. So what's the deal with Andrew being so intertwined in both Anne's life and his ex-wife Camilla's? Turns out, Andrew has been cozy with the royals since childhood. Harper's Bazaar pointed out that his dad was close friends with the Queen Mother, and Andrew even served as a page boy at Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953. With all this shared history, it's no surprise that Anne and Camilla's relationship comes with extra layers of awkwardness. Between exes, family ties, and a lifetime of royal connections, it's like the gift that keeps on complicating. With decades of tangled relationships and shifting roles, the question remains, where does loyalty truly lie? loyalty to the crown. Since stepping back from royal duties, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have kept the spotlight firmly on them. Meanwhile, King Charles has been making moves to slim down the royal family, leaving many to wonder how other members fit into this evolving dynamic. And it seems Princess Anne had some thoughts to share, especially about Queen Camilla. According to a royal insider in 2021, Anne has long viewed Camilla as opportunistic. With Charles and Camilla taking on more responsibilities that year, tensions reportedly flared, with Anne feeling sidelined. The insider claimed Anne grew frustrated, lamenting that she rarely had private moments with her brother to discuss her own thoughts. As for Camilla, sources say she wanted Anne to bury the hatchet and move on. But according to reports, Anne wasn't quite ready to let go of old grudges, keeping the tension alive in the royal family's complex web of relationships. The history between Princess Anne and Queen Camilla hasn't been without its share of friction, but according to body language expert Judy James, the two seem to have reached a mutual understanding, at least when it comes to supporting the monarchy. After Prince Philip's passing, King Charles took on an even larger leadership role, pulling his wife and sister into the fold. James told Express that while the relationship between Anne and Camilla might have been difficult, they've shown signs of making progress. In recent times, the senior royals have reportedly united, forming what she described as an elite squad of key family members: Charles, Camilla, Anne, Kate, William, Edward, and Sophie. That said, James acknowledged that some emotional distance between Anne and Camilla might always remain. But shared responsibilities and a common goal, maintaining the public image of the royal family, seem to have brought them closer. It's less about personal connection and more about playing for the same team. For all the ups, downs, and downright awkward moments between Queen Camilla and Princess Anne, it's nice to know they've shared a few lighter ones too. Take Christmas Day in 2019, for example. Both women attended the royal family's traditional church service, and just so happened to show up wearing matching, eye-catching purple outfits. As Anne approached the church entrance, she joined Camilla, who couldn't help but notice their unintentional twinning moment. Camilla playfully nudged Anne with her elbow, pointing out their matching looks, and the two shared a rare laugh. Body language experts noted this as a surprisingly jovial moment, especially coming from Anne, who isn't exactly known for playful public displays. When it comes to royal protocol, figuring out who bows or curtsies to whom can feel like solving a royal family riddle. Rules are in place, but traditions and personal choices make things even more interesting. With King Charles now on the throne and Camilla as queen consort, the protocol has shifted. According to page 6, anyone meeting the king must bow or curtsy and address him as Your Majesty. After the formalities, you can switch to calling him Sir. As for Camilla, she no longer has to curtsy to anyone within the royal family, including Princess Anne. That said, she's still likely to curtsy to other world monarchs as a gesture of respect. But here's where it gets a little tricky. Back in 2005, Queen Elizabeth approved a rule called Precedence of the Royal Family to be observed at court. This protocol placed princesses born into the royal family, like Princess Anne or even young Princess Charlotte, above women who marry in, like Camilla. And guess who pushed for this? You guessed it, Princess Anne herself. According to a former courtier who spoke to the Daily Mail, Anne was vocal about the rule, especially since Camilla wasn't exactly winning popularity contests back then. The courtier shared Anne made it clear she had no intention of curtsying to her ever. This sentiment was shared by Princess Alexandra, another born royal who spent her life in service. While times and relationships may have softened, the tension over rank and respect clearly lingers in royal history. Should royal protocol adapt to modern times? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more.